Apparently, Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul has been canceled. Word on the street is Francis Ngannou or Nate Diaz to replace Gervonta Davis. Jake Paul's most valuable promotions issue statement on Tank Davis allegations. Current fight status. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis is currently scheduled to take place on November 14th in Miami. Damn, we right around the corner. Jake Paul is still scheduled to fight Gervonta Tank Davis on November 14th, but an investigation is ongoing after Davis was hit with a lawsuit over serious domestic violence allegations. Now listen, is it me or did they already promote this fight or start promoting this fight knowing that he had these problems? Knowing that he had these cases, knowing that he had these court dates, knowing that he had these lawsuits, knowing that he had these allegations. I mean, reporters were questioning him about it at this event's press conferences. So what's the difference now? On Saturday, Most Valuable Promotions, which is owned and operated by Paul and business partner Nakisa Badarian, issued a statement regarding the ongoing situation after news surfaced on Friday that the promoters were looking into potential alternative opponents to replace the 30-year-old lightweight champion. While the statement didn't declare whether or not Davis is still expected to fight, an investigation is ongoing, so for now the event is moving ahead as scheduled. I also feel like, too, this could be some Jake Paul, Nakisa Badarian getting in Tank's head type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Just making his experience less than comfortable leading up to a fight. Because stop pretending that you guys didn't know that these allegations and these problems were there. I was wondering how he got the fight with those. I was like, damn, y'all gonna give him this fight? He got a lot of smut on his name right now. And they gave him the fight. Most Valuable Promotions immediately initiated an investigation upon learning of the civil lawsuit filed against Gervonta Davis in Miami-Dade County on October 30th, 2025. MVP said in a statement, "At this time, we are gathering information and reviewing the details to ensure any decisions we make is thoroughly vetted." You didn't thoroughly vet your opponent from the beginning because he had those problems then. These problems ain't new. I'm not understanding that part. I'm lost on that part. "We unequivocally condemn any form of violence and are committed to handling this matter with diligence and respect for all involved. We will make a determination on next steps once we've completed our review and consulted with the appropriate parties. Until then, we will not be commenting further." I don't know, was the attention low on the internet? Like, okay, another lawsuit came out on Friday, but we've been hearing this about Tank. And what has Tank said? Tank has said to journalists, there's people out there to get money off of me. There's people out there to extort me. Well, MVP knew that. They knew you had these cases. San Juan, Puerto Rico, you guys are fucking vultures. The lawsuit, which was filed by Davis's ex-girlfriend, Courtney Roselle, accused the boxer of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, snatching, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Davis is accused of barging into Roselle's place of work at a Miami gentleman's club. That's where you fucked up. First of all, be a boxer. Tank, don't be an emotional bitch. And don't let emotional bitches turn you into an emotional bitch. Davis is accused of barging into Roselle's place of work at a Miami gentleman's club where she works as a server and allegedly attacking her in a back room. Roselle claims Davis dragged her down a stairwell, through the kitchen, and then out of the back exit of the club where the assault allegedly continued. If that's in a place of business like that, then there's cameras and there's no question what it was. Now, was this something that he wasn't privy to or MVP wasn't privy to beforehand? Because I've been hearing about him in domestic situations for a long time now. And I wondered how, they would just move on with the fight without addressing those concerns first. And then I let it go. I said, okay, maybe it's bullshit, like he said. Now, all of a sudden, they got to do investigations and try to vet a new opponent. I don't know. It's weird to me. Roselle claims Davis dragged her, blah, blah, blah. So they got to be camera that, and he got to be caught dead to rights for that. Roselle detailed a volatile relationship with Davis over several months in which she accused the boxer of numerous incidents of domestic violence, including allegedly physically assaulting and restricting her air. The lawsuit states Roselle is dealing with post-traumatic stress from the multitude of incidents involving Davis, and she lives in constant fear after multiple assaults. Now, you shouldn't have been with him then. If he's an emotional bitch, you shouldn't have been with him. Here's the thing. This is a civil suit. Is there not a... This is lawsuit. This is not charges. Why? Why are there no criminal charges? No criminal charges have been filed at this time involving this incident. See, that shit is a red flag for me. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. While this is a civil action, Davis has faced numerous legal issues in the past, including several arrests related to domestic violence. The most recent incident happened in 2025 when Davis was arrested for allegedly assaulting his then girlfriend, where he was accused of slapping her and hitting her in the back of the head. The charges were eventually dropped after the victim refused to prosecute. These allegations from the lawsuit now have MVP investigating the situation, with Paul scheduled to face Davis in less than 2 weeks' time. I say they fight. I think they're going to fight. I think this was perfect for them. I think, frivolous. Well, maybe not so frivolous. I think they was like, a lawsuit popped up. We could talk about this. We could create waves with this. This is more word for the fight. I think they fight in 2 weeks. That's what I think. I think they fight in 2 weeks. This ain't nothing new to Tank Davis. Tank Davis, stop being a hoe. If that's what you're doing, running around smacking chicks, come on, man. There's plenty of them out there that you ain't got to smack around, you ain't got to do nothing like that too. All right? Especially you. Stop being... the way you grew up and how you grew up is no longer an excuse. Grow the fuck up. If you are guilty of this shit, then may justice fall on your dome top. If you're not, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I expect you to knock dude the fuck out. Or at least bloody him up. Something. To me, they knew of these allegations before. They knew of criminal charges from before. And now what? You worried about some... shit seems strange to me. You worried about a civil lawsuit now? This sounds like public relations. Sounds like they got everybody talking about it.
How we doing, everyone? So I'm sitting here at Vegas Airport. The fight's just finished at the Apex, and I am seeing reports online that Jake Paul might be fighting Francis Ngannou, which is just absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous in the sense that, I'm sorry, Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou, shit, even Deontay Wilder, they're cleaning your clock, Jake. Team has reportedly contacted Francis Ngannou to step in as a replacement opponent for Gervonta. Other names being explored are Nate Diaz, Ryan Garcia, and Terrence Crawford. I saw Nate drop a post and say he was injured for that fight. Nate, respect you, love the Diaz brothers. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't give a f***. Shouldn't have fought. Should have pulled out. Pull out of the fight. I don't want to hear about your injuries after the fact. I don't.
Situation. He was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight.
No, I don't see that part. Sources: Jake Paul seeking potential replacement for Gervonta Davis fight. The YouTube star's team have made an offer to Ryan Garcia and is considering other high-profile. I don't see nothing about Netflix calling it on that fight. I don't know where Bisping got that from. As far as I'm concerned, they are still on the schedule to fight on the 14th.
It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right? And here are the potential opponents: Nate Diaz or Francis Ngannou. Now listen, we know that Jake Paul has been out there and he's typically taking on people that are way older than him, like Mike Tyson, who's 58, Anderson Silva, who was way past his prime, people like Nate Diaz, who were way smaller. Gervonta Davis really did take the piss. I mean, that was just the craziest shout ever. To go from fighting Gervonta Davis, way smaller, to now fighting boxing Francis Ngannou. I mean, listen, if he does it, fair play. But I just call number one bullshit.
Number one bullshit. Shout out Khabib. I call number one bullshit too, bro. I don't believe it.
His brother, because I don't see this happening. No.
This is number one bullshit.
I just don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. Nate Diaz, yeah, 100%. I mean, he beat him once already. I'm sure Nate Diaz would love to get another big payday, because obviously boxing on Netflix and going up against Jake Paul, given his success, given the name that he has, and given the magnitude of his events, Nate Diaz will get paid an absolute fortune once again. We know that it wasn't too long ago Jake Paul was talking about boxing Anthony Joshua, and that never came to fruition. There's absolutely no way he would box Anthony Joshua. If he did, if he was to do something like that, whether it be Anthony Joshua or Francis Ngannou,
Agreed.
I'd give him his props. I'd give him his credit.
Yeah, he'd finally earn it from me if he fought one of those two guys. He would not. He would not.
And you never know. Maybe
later. Maybe later. When he's exhausted all of his bullshit opportunities and he run out of old people and you know, retired fighters to fight, then he'll do it.
he would do it just for the clout, because in many ways it would be, sorry about the airport notifications, it would be, you know, an admirable thing to do, and it will be Jake Paul taking on somebody bigger with more experience. We saw what happened to Francis Ngannou when he went up against Anthony Joshua. He got flatlined by every single right hand that was thrown.
Francis is insinuating that he feels like something was off in that fight, like something might have been done to him. Now, we could say no, just like me. I try to be hopeful about, you know, gambling and this and that, and every now and then you find somebody that, you know, stepped on that topic. I don't believe the biggest companies in the world would do any, you know, fixing the gambling, but there's people involved and people fail. And we all often hear about throwing fights and this like that. I looked at it as Francis being out of his depth as far as boxing, or having a bad day at work, but he seems to think that something was off and something bad happened.
Francis Ngannou, of course, the PFL heavyweight champion, only defended that once against Renan Ferreira, but it was a short bout. It was easy work, okay? He made a mockery of him, took him down and just pounded him out relatively easily. Outside of the boxing matches with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, Francis Ngannou hasn't been very busy. He hasn't been active. Granted, he's made a fortune. Boxing Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua would have been massively lucrative for him. To be honest, listen, I know the UFC aren't interested, but I would love to see him back in the UFC.
I would
he is
too.
Clearly,
I would too, but Dana don't mess with him like that. He asks for too much for Dana to give a shit about him.
A big, strong, talented fighter, and obviously I'd love to see him go up against Tom Aspinall or John Jones, if John Jones is going to come back. We know he's talking about fighting Pereira at the White House, which is crazy. And in fact, just recently he was kind of begging Dana White, saying, please give me a call, I want to fight at the White House.
I really hope it happens. Dana, bro, please, I'm training, I feel great, I'm healthy, and I'd be so honored to represent.
Yeah, but it's fuck you when the ball's in your court. When they don't got something that you want, like Tom Aspinall, it's fuck you. And now it's Dana, please call me. This guy, man, listen, I wanted John Jones to become the champion so bad when he did, because I knew he was the future. But he like Conor, like Kanye. It's just hard to be a fan of this motherfucker, man.
Our country.
But anyway, this video is not about that. It's about Jake Paul losing the Gervonta Davis fight, which I have no sympathy for. That's what you get, you know. He wasn't to know that Gervonta Davis was going to get, I don't know what the case is, arrested or have accusations for domestic abuse against him.
There's just a civil lawsuit, bro. That's it. This is a big hubbub about nothing. Much ado about nothing.
And again, if I'm misspeaking there, I apologize, because I don't know all the situation. But that's what you get for going up against someone that is 135 pounds. I always say this, and I know it's a broken record, and I'm repeating myself at this point. If you do that, you're not a fighter, okay? As a fighter, you go into the octagon or the ring, and you don't know what's going to happen. Sure,
Right.
you can have confidence, you can believe in yourself, but you truly don't know. And a lot of my fights, I went in there and I was outmatched. You know, I was never the best wrestler. I was never the strongest guy. I certainly wasn't the best athlete. I could hardly kick a ball when I was a kid, for crying out loud. But you work your ass off and you give it your best shot and you believe in yourself and you go in there and you're kind of nervous and you're scared. But that's the thrill. That's the thrill of victory. There's no thrill in beating someone where it's such a manufactured situation that it's almost impossible to lose. Now we know
And that's what Jake does, manufacture situations.
Jake Paul suing people that says his fights are fixed. I don't think his fights are fixed, but they are.
Exactly. I don't think they're fixed either. They're just manipulated. They're manipulated from the jump. They are cherry-picked and formed to be what they are.
As I say, set up in such a situation that it's almost impossible to lose. I mean, a 58-year-old Mike Tyson is not a Mike Tyson in his prime. And Nate Diaz, that isn't a boxer, even though he has got hands and can fight, he is way smaller. That's in Jake Paul's favour, and certainly going up against Gervonta Davis, he was so much smaller. Of course, that is in his favour. Going up against Francis Ngannou, a man that pushed Tyson Fury, a man that dropped Tyson Fury, and a man that, according to a lot of people, and if I remember rightly when I watched the fight, Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, he was very unlucky not to get that decision. There's no way Jake Paul fights him. If he does, hey, listen, I'll be the first one to hold my hand up and say I was wrong. But I just don't think that's going to happen. Nate Diaz, yeah, I do believe that would be a possibility. People are very interested in Jake Paul. He is a phenomenon in that regard. And people always say whenever I'm talking, oh, you're just jealous. I'm not jealous of the success of Jake Paul. There's a lot of people on this planet that are more successful than me, that have more money and all the rest of it. You can't walk around your life being jealous of people. But I can be critical of people when I don't respect the decisions that they're making as a fighter, and when they're pulling the wool over the public's eyes and pretending to be a fighter. That's not being a fighter. It's just not. You know, you want to go out, you want to challenge yourself. There's plenty of ranked boxers at cruiserweight that he could fight, that would take the matchup against Jake Paul,
he won't do
because he is a draw. He does do big business. The fight with Mike Tyson on Netflix was one of the most watched sporting spectacles on TV or on streaming, whatever you want to call it, right? So fair play.
He barely wants to fight the guy, the 135 pounder. He barely wants to fight that guy. That guy's looking to fight him, and this guy's talking about old news. Like, bro, we know dude got cases. You didn't give a shit before. You didn't care.
Massive audience, and for that you got to say fair play. The man's doing well. He's doing good business. He's a good businessman, but he's not a fighter. Anyway.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. First,
I've waffled on for a while. I'm here at the airport. The Apex fight's just finished. Cheers. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Who do you think it will be? Will it be Francis Ngannou, or will it be Nate Diaz, or will it be someone else?
I think it's going to be Tank Davis. So far, I think it's going to be Tank Davis.
The reality is we don't know. We'll wait and see. I will tune in because it is a spectacle, and it is like kind of one of those things. It's kind of like car crash TV where you kind of want to see. And listen, I will say Jake Paul is definitely improving over the years. You can see the work that he's putting in. So I do respect that. You know, it's like I'm being a hater. I'm not being a hater. I'm just being a realist.
He knows how to box. He just don't know how to box motherfuckers that's on his level. He wants somebody that's past their prime by a whole lot.
Just talking facts and saying how I feel. What do you want me to do? Lie and just go, oh, Jake Paul's the best? I mean, listen, he sent me loads of DMs talking shit. He even sent me a contract to box a few years ago. I wasn't interested. I've got one eye. I'm older. I'm 46. I don't need the money. I don't need to fight anymore, even though, you know, I would kind of entertain it because I do feel like I could still compete. But I wasn't interested at the time, and I'm not interested now. And none of this is motivated from any kind of jealousy or whatever. But even the fact I'm saying that makes it sound like it is, which is just hilarious, and that's the world that we live in.
I think it's going to be Tank Davis. I think that this is just publicity and bullshit. Hey, he got a lawsuit that dropped on Friday. Let's take advantage of that shit. And I feel like that's what it is. And I feel like, again, I could be wrong, and I will be here to eat my humble pie if I am wrong, but I believe that he will be fighting Tank Davis on November 14th. We'll see. Tank, cut the bullshit. You too rich to be in toxic relationships, man. All of you rich people in toxic relationships, y'all don't make no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't make no sense to me. Get back to your business. But I don't see no problem with this fight happening on November 14th. A civil lawsuit ain't stopping shit. I'll be here to be wrong when the time comes. Peace.